to discuss in bilateral.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I don't have a very fixed plan. It's very flexible, so you are free to give your input. After that, I would like, as a mediator, I would like to have one-on-one discussions with the country representatives. And while we are doing that, you could also talk to each other,
Yes.
about how you would like to, what are the possibilities.
By letting the countries talk to the mediators only, I'm not sure the countries will get their objectives before the end of this session. So I would like, as Alpha, to have the opportunity to discuss directly with other stakeholders. It's okay if you want to know more about our positions, that's fine. But when we break up, I would personally be more interested in talking with the different parties at the table and with the mediator as well, but most importantly with the other parties. So I would like to speak with the bank, with the new state, with the different NGOs, with the different countries. So it's not enough for me to only speak with the mediator.
But absolutely, that's what I meant.
Yes.
When I'm talking to one-on-one, like with Alpha, at that time, Beta could be talking to Gamma, or Beta could be talking to anybody else. So,
okay, so it
you're
will
free
be
to,
open for...
yeah.
As a group, we have gathered here and we have asked the concerned people here. So we can actually discuss our priorities, really what we want to do, and then see the common grounds and divergence there, and then discuss those issues with the countries bilaterally, or maybe we can talk to bank and other experts, so that we can later on do.
The project actually, in fact, will be bounded by the 3 countries.
Yes.
And also the main state. So each of you should tell what is your problem, why you are going to plan the projects. So what is your ideas, what type of projects you are planning?
Okay, so should I sum up the process we have decided to follow?
Yes.
So the first step would be to 3 countries to state their needs, come forward with their needs. And after that, we will have bilateral discussions. The mediator will talk to each one of the countries, and while that is happening, the country representatives will talk to each other.
So I'm just hoping for those 2 things, but particularly not putting myself in the position where I'm just kind of that voice out there that's going environmental safeguard. I think people will not listen to me after a while. So does that make sense?
And are you interested in improving water quality in the basin, or
Yes.
and improving the ecosystem in the basin?
Yes,
Okay.
I mean,
we are
there's lots of
talking-
different areas. Yeah, I mean, it's not just within within Beta's basin area, but also in the upper headwaters.
Yeah,
where there's a lot of
definitely,
things
yeah.
because that's contributing, I think, to some of the things that you're experiencing down in your delta region. So I'm hoping that will, our partnership, and also with others. I mean, I don't think I would leave us just exclusively to ourselves. Or, there may be with the Governing Water Association, maybe a few other people that we might want to talk with, and see if we can develop some good, effective strategies, so we're not being perceived as total hammers, but willing to really push out and think about some different ways of negotiating.
That's right. That's right.
It seems like we've tried some of this stuff before, and it hasn't been successful. And I would hate for us to wind up with this, totally uncertain future where everybody's kind of going on their own. I just think that's going to be.
We need to develop our basin, which is part of the big basin. And to do that, we are interested in having small dams to preserve water most of the months over the year, and also to generate some hydropower to start to improve our economy. So we already talked to the know-how agency here, the engineering and design infrastructure, and they're very happy to provide us with low-cost technology What we are lacking is fund. We are a very poor country, as I mentioned, our GDP is very low. So our interest is to bring a third party to fund our projects and to benefit from the revenues coming out of it.
Health, yeah, better health.
Alleviation? What's alleviation? Okay.
I think we see this whole project as not just as a one project for hydropower, but we see it more as a something which is bringing us all together, all the three countries for a regional development to work as a region. Like you see EU. So definitely there are different regions, but this could be just one medium by which we can be a larger economic region, or you would say a regional force in the world.
For the participation only of designated experts by each country and official observers. And again, I think that local communities are the ones that are really implementing activities. So for transboundary waters management, I think that countries should really include local experts in order to participate in this process. I think that is the part mostly related to the second phase, because at the beginning I think we should save money and resource to make like an effective and short process. So not to delay, because it's a very extensive consultation process, including this very valuable, but at the same time, this can delay the process, collecting such information. So we're not against.
So only the designated experts you are in favor of in the beginning.
I guess so.
No, I talked about the training is important because you need the repairing countries to be together at the same level, because we need to have the trust what kind of data analysis the other repairing countries doing. And
I think
that way
most state well-being is kind of, because they come from one of the most developed state of these three. And among the alpha also they are one of the best in the way, and they have their own expertise as such.
So I would like to respect very much that we should have the designated experts who can well understand the data collection procedures and also to do the analysis, but we have also to include with them some other parties. And I would like to recommend from Ghana a number of NGOs that are knowledgeable and they have the science and technology, also the business field. We have a number of business companies working in data collection and analysis. We can seek their support.
I think there is one critical thing that is very important in this mission, joint finding mission, and that is quality. And that's why everyone seems to emphasize that it is the experts that will do this work. Must be people or an organization that has some credibility, that has done this kind of work in the past. WIED, WIED, is happy to support these efforts by offering its services to build capacity, especially for Ghana, in terms of technology, experts.
Other experts of NGO and the business community will be critical at this stage, so I don't think so that will be much of a good proposal of including those experts. I think this kind of issue just needs scientific experts, and of sharing data at the regional level, I think we are not quite sure about the NGO involvement.
So how to compensate both of them? We have to have government's view for the ownership, for the trust building. And if we are not there, because I heard that you are not appreciating having NGOs and civil society and others, because they might mislead us. So how Ghana will be there?
It might be helpful to expand what that means at the table, because I think local ways of knowing are just as incredibly important to the understanding of the various kinds of issues that we may have in front of us. So I think that that's one thing. I use the example again of fishermen who, through their observation, they're collecting data about fish that are being overfished, that are not available anymore, and that is citizen science at its finest. I think there are technical solutions that may take technical experts, but I think there's also those with more social cultural knowledge and their own ways of knowing that will help us kind of expand this. So I would caution us to get too locked into what is an expert and what kind of science do they bring to the data. It's really about data, and how does that help us make sense of what we're doing. So,
as much as we appreciate the value of anecdotal information and also information gathered from stories from the farmers and the fishermen, our main concern as GWMO is that this kind of information is not easy to quality guarantee. And hence, at this stage, as a starting stage, we would like to more or less promote a more expert-driven process.
One thing that we were talking about was the idea versus classic versus citizen science. So the traditionally trained experts versus those who have historically expertise passed down generation to generation. We have the question of the quality of the data, so that although there's data that's given generation to generation, it might be, for one reason or another, might be more extreme, or it might not be as factually based, and that it might, for whatever reason, not as qualitative, as high quality that we can expect from university trained person. Not to the same extent as the experts, but the idea of NGOs and civil society having some sort of observational part in the data, in the collecting of and the participation. And then the idea of a short versus long-term event horizon for the project. Certain goals that should be met short-term versus certain goals that should be met long-term, and who can contribute at these different stages. Okay?
And look into that. The three of us agree on improved food security. And what can we come up and discuss about the project? The three of us. It may not be our first priority, but then we can agree.
Let me tell you something. We as Iranians, we should have the upper hand, not to let the other organizations have the upper hand. Because now I feel it is driven by them, not by us. It is our people,
that is why I wanted
be
to
the
meet.
governments will be blamed.
That's true. Exactly. So I think we need to have a strong position, and we need to raise our voice that yes, we three agree on this point, and that should be the priority.
So we have to have also a say to the bank. The bank shouldn't give us a basket of projects and we have to take it or leave it. No, we have to change. So we can change this now. If so, we can make, for myself, for Gamma, can consider this as a priority for us for food security.
Right, because drought is something that concerns three of us.
Yeah,
what do you feel? What do you feel, Ben?
I agree with that.
Yes, we need to put some pressure on the bank because we are the recipients.
Right.
Without us, he will be like failing in the bank.
Right. So he has an estimated fund, and I think we could improve on making this medium project into a large project and fitting all our criteria into it. You agree with that?
Yeah.
I think we could put this on the table.
So we have to go and give this not as a proposal, as a recommendation, high recommendation.
Right. Higher recommendation.
So the bank has to take it.
Yeah. But a 25 years plan is
Too long.
Yeah, too long, right? So why can't we come up with a mutual agreement in terms of immediate priority on the river basin planning? Like as Gama also said during the discussion.
Yes, I agree on that also.
Yes.
Yes. So since is the bank will finance one large, one medium, one small. Now we agreed on two, and we promote this one to be large. Let us also go for the small ones, and then we put our agenda. This is what we need.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we prefer shorter period. Yeah.
You're fine with the shorter period planning process?
Yes.
Okay.
The bank is just spying on us.
Try to.
Actually, we were planning to talk to you after this because we are now agreeing on something will make you happy.
Probably fit in our criteria, like having a medium project into a large project. Like if bank is flexible with that.
What's the budget? What is the budget?
Actually, bank's budget is around 9 to 10 million.
Okay.
Bank always emphasizes that one should large, one medium, and small.
Yes, we
agree.
are fine with that.
6 million will give it to this project. You said 6 million for large. We need to give it to this project. 3 countries are now agreeing with that.
And we will have options for like large, medium, and small. But we want this with few changes, and coming into this option as it won't change the budget at all. Like
Estimated budget or
no,
some
we are not
deposit
changing.
name.
We are not changing the budget at all.
We cannot change. Can we change the project?
We are not changing the project at all. We
This is a priority for the bank. It is a priority.
No, you budget is because the preliminary study shows that it may require this type of money. So why you should?
No, can you hear please? Now you stick to the delta for 3 million. Now we make it larger project for 60 million. It's
No,
still in
otherwise
your-
you include something with this.
Sorry?
You include some parameters with this.
Not parameters. We'll make it in different places. In the delta, in the upstream. and
Yeah,
the-
not only delta.
But not for 3 million, for 6 million.
It is not possible.
It's already a
No,
priority
what
for the bank.
you propose us for a new project, but not.
Not new project.
No. First select from this table. From this table.
From this table,
From this table.
now you are implying on us.
I think we should
We are
just
independent country, we are sovereign
No,
country.
we already studied by request of you, and you.
yeah, that's what we are saying. That I think
Yeah, you don't change
This is not the request
frequently.
of us.
Yes.
The priority for us was flood and drought management, and you didn't put it in
No,
here.
we already identified this project with the help of you, and beneficiaries.
I think we could just go about with our own resources on the project, like if the 3 countries agree on having this project as a priority, and if bank is not willing to,
We can find another financiers.
You have money, I think.
right? Yeah. So right.
I have extra money.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Maybe the 6 million, let us 2 million, 2 million, 2 million.
I have some extra money to contribute.
Because it's important for us to go with this project, which will be mutually beneficial and in a win-win situation for 3 parent countries.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be under the mercy of one financing
That's true.
agency.
Yeah.
We can find another one.
Yeah. So what does Gamma think about that? Like,
Agree?
do you agree with that? Like, could we look for a
Yes, we can look for others. And here we have, Bita has some money.
right? And I think Alpha could also come up with its own resources. Like we could have kind of a sharing agreement with Gamma in terms of the hydropower. Like as we said, and some trade relations, bilateral trade relations. We could come up with.
In this case, if we approach again the bank and said, let us take it with 3 million,
Right.
but instead of making it in the delta,
Delta.
we make it in the upper areas where Gamma is.
Okay, let me read. Toward these objectives and to safeguard all countries' interests, the parties will share data about planned projects that might affect the volume of water resources. Okay, bank, please.
Share data and reach agreement.
Share data and reach agreement.
I support that.
Yeah.
Share data and reach agreement. Okay, I'm gonna add that.
Agreement that Mu State will be given the information towards our higher political level.
It is not, it is not. It could not
Yes.
be inserted.
By default.
It could not be inserted because
Well,
we
you might want to write a separate bilateral agreement.
we have agreed
But,
on the
okay,
sharing.
I mean, yeah, our agreement, I mean, that was an agreement between us, but Mu State is a party.
No.
So if
No,
I.
no. One country is a party. Minister is not a party.
Okay, so you're gonna share information just the
Share
countries?
information, there's nothing
Well, what
else.
about,
That's so
yeah,
much
what
better
about all the
for
parties?
you. And this is where
No,
the
we are not
parties
going
do
for the
not
mutual
agree.
consent. We are
Oh,
just for
okay.
the sharing,
That's so much
information
better
sharing.
for you.
Exactly.
We are going for
Perfect.
information sharing.
We are writing an in-reach agreement. We're just not
Thank
writing
you.
in.
I would like to add something here for
What,
this.
did you want to just specify share data at the aggregate level or at the country level?
Well, actually, the bank just gave me a really good clarification, which is that gamma, beta, and alpha are parties to this agreement.
No problem, bank has given
So-
something different to me, but I have agreed upon something else.
Yeah.
So now we have to follow it, what we have agreed upon.
Inform one another and share data about the planned project.
So we're just adding inform?
Inform one another
Inform one another.
and share data so and so and so.
Share among
And
each
reach
other.
agreement if they might affect
No
volume.
reach agreement.
Reach agreement
No reach
is
agreement.
mutual consent, and
No
mutual
reach
consent is
agreement.
not something we agreed upon.
We are not for mutual consent, with just data sharing,
Yeah,
information.
inform one another and share,
Inform,
they
yeah.
share data. This is what has been agreed upon.
So
not
take
even,
the reach agreement out.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
yes.
So you want the project should don't need any agreement.
No.
You don't
Well, it's by
understand.
default.
Inform and share data only.
Information sharing
That
data.
means if, it means
No
even.
Inform one
Informing
another.
Inform one another.
Okay,
And share data about the planned
I
project.
think we've agreed on this
Yeah.
one. Can I move on now?
Yes,
I
please.
think the injury question was
We've
under-
got 1 minute.
That's under review now.
This is
Please,
right to
if
the
it's
point,
gonna
but
help.
But you're not a deciding
If we're going to
factor,
help,
and we've gotta get
please.
through it.
So the next, so do we have anything under review or anything after this?
Oh, yeah,
These
the
will
points,
include
yeah.
improving and are there any changes to
Yes.
A, B, C? Okay.
Yes.
So A, improving and harmonizing data collections and analysis methodologies for monitoring the state of basin.
Basins, water resources.
Basin water resource, is that
Basins,
broad?
water resources.
But that's narrowing it.
Is that broad though? Does that fit what we agreed on?
This is improving and harmonizing data collection and analysis methodologies for monitoring the state of the basin's water resources.
But
Covered
for
all
level-
these things in another aspect. For this paragraph I am asking.
I know, but what I'm saying is you guys agreed on broad
Yeah,
approach,
for you
and
it's
that's,
narrow,
that would
this
be
is
narrow.
Yeah,
Now you have to come
That's
to
narrowing
narrow.
it.
No, it is not narrow.
It is
It
narrow.
is-
That is narrow.
What you ask, listen. Improving and harmonizing data collection.
Yeah.
And analysis
Could you-
methodologies for monitoring the state of basins water resources.
Yeah, but
This
what
is
about-
one of the aspect, not the whole.
Exactly, so if we say it's only water resources,
It is
then
not
we're-
only.
but then we're limiting it, that's the
It
whole
is
point.
limiting it. It is not
It is
only.
limiting it.
Remember
We
that
have-
your position.
This,
Oh,
no,
it is
this
narrow.
means it is,
It
you
is
are limited
narrow.
yourself
No,
to that.
no, no. This is not.
But Alpha, you agreed on broad, so that would be narrowing it. So since we agreed on broad, is it okay?
All-
Could you live with
go-
us
you
not
go for
putting?
previous paragraph, we have
So we
agreed
have
on the broad.
2 more minutes to finish this
We
exercise.
have already agreed on the
But that
broad.
immediately limits everything. So which could you live
It
with?
is not limiting, it is not
Could you
limiting
live- Could you
everything.
live with the fact that we just say?
This is
we're
not
against
limiting.
water
Basin
resources?
as is
If it
abroad.
is limiting everything, then
any more time, we have to finish.
I know.
So
this is
Alpha,
not
could you
limiting
live- Could you
anything.
live with the fact that it doesn't say water resources?
Hmm?
Could you
Pardon?
live with the fact that it doesn't say water? Leave it at basin, period.
But excuse me,
Because-
excuse me,
It is
excuse
not
me.
harming anything.
Let me see,
Neither
let me
it is
see.
changing any,
Let me explain it. When we are saying basins, this include anything related to the
What
basin.
basin? Only the improvement and
Yes,
harmonizing this.
of the basin. This means surface, water,
Alpha, this point
fish,
is gonna be us not-
everything's
not
under
reaching
the
an
basin.
agreement.
When we are saying water resources basin, we are minimizing your request.
Water resources basin,
Yeah.
fish will live in the water.
But you're not including
Fish will not
agriculture,
live
for
out of
instance.
water.
You
You're
didn't
not
include
including
agriculture.
agriculture.
Water resources mean.
If
the
you
wa-
put
for what
water
the water
resources,
Okay, but
if
you
you put water resources,
No, for
then
what?
everybody has to add
Okay,
their
tell me, water resources
specific
for what?
interest.
Water
That's
for-
what we're trying to explain. You're not listening, I'm really sorry, but
You
you're
are also
not
not
listening.
listening, I am also very sorry.
No, we're not listening because you don't stop talking. That either we end the discussion here, and this is how far we've gotten on the
No,
agreement.
we have to continue.
Or
We
we,
have to
or
continue.
are you willing to
No, so
live
why
with this, or
everybody
we
is stuck
stop?
up on
Sorry,
one
we
thing?
have
can't
2 more
continue.
minutes strictly.
Okay.
We can, if you can, if you're
I
okay.
am not limiting.
You
on the
are,
matter.
you're
No,
the
no,
only
I'm
one
not.
limiting it.
You are
I'm not.
limiting.
Every
Why are you the
single
only one to
person
see
except
that?
for you is saying that
No,
you're
I'm not
limiting.
limiting.
No,
I'm simply saying.
Alpha, would it be
that
okay if we
resources.
just end it with the period and not put water resources?
You really?
Switch
No,
it
I'm
and
not
back.
limiting.
It's
If I have going to limit, in other paragraph we have written this, everything
No,
is
Alpha, I
included.
understand your
Each and
concern.
everything, everybody is included.
Alpha, can you listen
I
to
have
the
not objected.
engineering? They have a good point.
Excuse me, when I'm talking, please.
I understand your concern on you wanting to put water resources, and it's very understandable because we are talking about the basin that deals with water management.
Yes.
That's very understandable. But however,
But
when
I'm
we-
not limiting, I'm
You're
not
no,
only the
you're
water
not
system.
limiting, you're not, I agree. However, what we can do is that when we specifically talk about the basin-wide management, if we include something, for instance, such as just only water, it can be viewed, I'm not saying it is, but it can be viewed by other parties that we're only specifically talking about water. Whereas they may choose to talk about.
Okay, you make it. Basins, water resources, including other. Okay, you make it.
Should we say and other issues?
And other issues.
Would you like to do
Yeah,
that?
that's it. This is the solution. You make it
Okay,
like this.
we can say and other issues?
And other, including other issues, you say.
And other issues.
And other issues.
Good job. Would you like to do that,
Yes.
Mrs. Mediator?